Hello! A couple months ago I published my biggest security breach mod so far called Superstar Mode. It is supposed to make the game as difficult as possible without relying on complete randomness like the Chaos mod does. There are only a few people that have beaten it besides me. There's Star Josh, who got the gym ending and made a series out of his playthrough that you should watch because it's really funny. He also beat the mod without sprinting, without dying, and combined it with the Chaos mod, which is kind of like going to a soda fountain and putting every drink in one cup. It's gonna work, but you're not gonna have a good time. Another one I know of is Luz, who beat the escape ending and speedruns the mod. He also said he enjoys it and wants me to make it more difficult. You might want to seek help. Also, if Steel or anyone who played the mod is watching this, I am so sorry. Just in general. But first of all, what exactly are mods in Security Breach? Well, the two mod types that I usually work with are called logic mods and pack patches. Superstar Mode uses both of these. Logic mods are pack files that contain a mod folder and an actor called the mod actor. An actor in Unreal Engine is basically a type of object that can run code and can have certain components. Freddy is an actor, and so is PizzaBot or all of the doors. This actor is then spawned into the game by the Unreal Mod Loader, which is this program that you have to run to play the mod. And then the actor executes all of the code that was added in Unreal Engine before. So you can make a mod that randomly spawns a bunch of lids around you. A pack patch is also a pack file, but this one overrides existing files in the game with new ones. But you can also take files out of the game, modify them, and then patch them back into the game. This way you can change how much time you have in a mission or how fast the AI is. A pack patch always has _p at the end of its name. There's also a third type called a core mod, which lets you define functions for a logic mod using C++, giving you a lot more options, but I'm staying as far away from those as I can because C++. Now let's start with the game. When you boot up the game, you will immediately see the pack patch overriding some existing files. In this case, the Security Breach and Ruin logos have been replaced with my Superstar Mode logo, and I put my profile picture over the Steel Wool logo. In the main menu, there will be a button in the bottom right that takes you to the Extras map, which contains the achievement tracker and the mod credits. There's also a secret ending in that room that we will get to after the playthrough. This button is displayed on top of the menu using a widget blueprint. This is a type of object that can run code like the mod actor, but also has this designer part where you can add things like text and buttons. The first thing you'll notice when you finally load into a new save is that everything is really dark. This is because I added a component to the mod actor called an exponential height fog component. As the name already says, this component adds fog. I made it very dark and dense, which already makes the game a lot more difficult because you have less time to react to threats. And it makes it look like the Pizzaplex is actually closed and not just running off some magical infinite power source. The problem with this is that the fog doesn't work on some graphics settings and I don't know why. Anyway, the next thing you'll notice is that you have very little stamina and that you're not as fast as you normally are. I lowered Gregory's walking speed from 275 to 250 and his sprinting speed from 550 to 475. I didn't change crouch speed because lowering it in any significant way made the little music man chases impossible to beat. The mod actor deals with the stamina change. It sets the maximum stamina and refill rate to only 40% of their original values. The reason I had to do this in the mod actor and not just the patch pack is because of the stamina upgrades. These don't change the maximum stamina value directly, but instead multiply it in the stamina component's code with some value per upgrade carried. The max stamina variable holds your base maximum stamina. Your actual maximum stamina is returned by the getMaxStamina function. We can find out the multiplier by looking into that function's script bytecode. This is the code the raw blueprint code gets compiled to. There we can see that the multiplier is returned by the function getStaminaUpgradeMultiplier that accesses the fnaf inventory system. And because we have some of Security Breach C++ code, we can use this function and test it in the game. I call this the SDK since it's kind of like having a software development kit for Security Breach. This shows that the stamina multiplier doesn't rise linearly. So to compensate for this, we could divide the max stamina variable by this multiplier in the mod actor, which would always give us the base stamina value after going through the multiplier. But I didn't know any of this when I was making the mod because I didn't have the SDK yet. So I just guessed values that felt right. This means that the values don't perfectly line up, so stamina upgrades still have an effect, just a smaller one. The next thing you'll probably notice is that, well, the photo pass is missing. I did this and all of the other map changes using a program called Stove. It lets you edit cooked UMap files by moving, rotating, scaling, deleting and duplicating objects. It is a bit difficult to work with, but you get used to it. Anyway, the photo pass was moved with these cardboard cutouts. But wait, you also received an achievement when you got close to the original photo pass spot. You even got one when you entered the game for the first time, but I saved it until now. Superstar Mode has a total of 13 achievements. These are granted through this event in the mod actor. An event is like a wireless connection that can go between blueprints. In the case of the first achievement, it gets called from the mod actor itself on begin play if the current map is called map_the world, which is the normal security breach map. The photo pass achievement got granted because you walked into this trigger at the original pass location. The trigger first checks if you are Gregory and then if the time is before 11:45 PM, which is the time you normally collect the pass at. To check the time, I originally used this function in the debug menu widget, but Steelrule decided to remove this function in the Ruin update while I was still making the mod, so I had to find another way. Instead of the debug menu, I had to use the clock widget. The problem with that is that it uses a different time format than the original function, which meant I had to write a function to convert clock time to debug time. This is the function that I came up with. Yeah, it's quite a mess. I wonder how Steelrule does their conversion. If you pick up this message back, you'll notice that I changed it as well. I changed most of these messages and some items. Some of them even make up a story, but I'll get to that later. It's a story about Jim. With the photo pass, we can get into Freddy, and I made Freddy really slow. I did this because I didn't know how to lower his maximum power, since the variables for that aren't accessible without the SDK, which I didn't have when I was making this mod. When you get to the end of Freddy's section, you might be able to notice something's missing. I removed the save station. I removed many save stations. And I completely overdone it with this change. Especially in sections like the daycare or the sewers. This was mainly to punish mistakes harder and to fix exploits in my challenges, but it just makes the mod extremely frustrating to play. Moving them from the original spot to a new one, or disabling them during certain sections would have probably worked for most areas of the game. Security Breach already has a terrible save system, so doing this was a very dumb idea. Anyway, after not saving, you'll witness the, in my opinion, second biggest challenge of this mod. The AI. I went into the AI data table and the AI seeker actor and increased all of their values. That way, slow enemies became fast and fast enemies became very fast. The speed changes don't work for all enemies in every section though, so sometimes I had to increase the time dilation instead. Anyway, after distracting Chica and finally saving, we'll get to the first chase of the run. Monty adjusts to your speed in the first part to make it easier for you to learn the game. This overrides my AI changes, so I increase this time dilation to 2.2 with this trigger. But this doesn't seem to work all of the time for some reason. The second part of the chase begins when Chica rams through these boxes and is unbeatable with the AI changes. So I had to slow down both Monty and Chica using another trigger at the bottom of the stairs for a short period of time. When you step into this box, Monty gets slowed down back to his normal speed, and Chica gets slowed down to half speed for 6 seconds. This gives you enough time to outrun them if you bunny hop up the stairs. But it's also quite inconsistent from Chica getting flung by the boxes and Monty blocking her. Alright, as soon as you enter the first office, running into the office makes noise that Chica hears with their upgraded ears, so you'll have to hide on top of the desk and wait for her to leave before grabbing the cameras. The cams can actually be kinda useful here with your limited visibility. You can wait for Chica to walk under this camera and then book it around the right side, so Chica goes around the left and she doesn't cut you off. You also might notice that, well, there's no hiding spot here, or really anywhere else in the Pizzaplex except for at the start. Every second the mod actor gets an array containing all of the hiding spots and destroys them, skipping ones that don't count towards the hide and seek master achievement. This is far from the most efficient way of removing hiding spots. Instead of deleting the hiding spots, I could have disabled them. And instead of using the horribly inefficient get all actors of class function to get the hiding spots, I could have used this function from the SDK to get them. Anyway, once you reach the lobby, the game will finally autosave. But of course I moved the comp pass somewhere else. It's behind this plant and you can see it very well because of the spotlight above it. The lobby section is pretty difficult because of how fast Chica is and how easily she detects you. Combine that with a small area and the fact that all the important objects were moved somewhere else by some crazy lunatic, and we have quite a challenge to deal with. First of all, the magnet has been moved on top of the elevator, meaning that you'll have to either jump from the top of the escalator railing or climb over the back of the elevator to reach it. The pass machine has been moved a bit further in its area, and the service area door button has been moved next to this vent here. On top of that, I made some changes to staff bots. They're about twice as fast now, which doesn't work for all staff bots for some reason. They will kill you now if you get jump scared, and if you get near them, even in Freddy or through a wall, 6 Giga Mounties at 2 times speed will spawn around you, and Patrick's Wiwu plays. This is done by the mod actor constantly checking for staff bots in the sphere around the player. If there is one, it spawns the Monties, plays the sound, and grants the achievement. To calculate the locations for the Monties to spawn, I used this function which I made a while ago for the Chaos mod. It picks locations in a box shape behind and around the player. But I would probably replace it with this new one that I came up with for the last Chaos mod update, which is able to fully rotate the shape with the player instead of snapping to the nearest 90 degrees. Or instead I could use this function that finds a random location in the player's current room. But that one doesn't fully work all the time, because steel wool, I don't know. Anyway, you might want to stay a little quiet during this section and generally in the game, because the AI can hear you. They can hear your microphone, and they can hear you from quite a far distance too. There's a component in Unreal Engine that can pick up audio from a microphone. This tells the mod how loud you are talking, and this actor makes a noise for the AI to hear based on that. So how do we beat this? Opening the gate makes a tiny bit of sound that Chica can hear, which makes her run towards you, so you have to hide behind the gate because she can't see you here. As soon as she's up the stairs, you can continue by running to the service area entrance to open the doors with the move button. This again can alert Chica to your location, but we can just hide next to this plant pot which interrupts her navigation. Once Chica reaches the other corner of our path, we can run up the left stairs. To get the magnet, you can do a little trick jump halfway up the stairs from the railing. But that's not that easy to do, so as an alternative, you can pinch jump up this barrier and drop down. With the magnet in our inventory, we just need to jump down and run into the service area when Chica is on the other side. And to get into the daycare, we can go back up the stairs and run across while Chica is downstairs. Sometimes Chica can get stuck in the air around the elevators, making this area very easy to beat. This is one of the cases where the fast AI struggles, because she essentially flings herself onto an area where she can't reach you anymore. Moving on. Not you, Chica, though. The next safe station is in the daycare security office. To detect the daycare mission, I put a trigger here in the office that sees if Moon has been spawned by constantly checking a variable in the daycare security office actor. Once the Moon has been spawned, the trigger spawns a second act that deals with the mission and shuts down. The daycare mission has quite a few challenges to deal with. The flashlight runs out 4 times quicker, I moved some of the generators around, there's a second Moon at the start that constantly tracks you, runs at 2 times speed and doesn't get distracted, an extra one of those spawns for every generator you flip on, there's a constant Moon filter that gets more and more severe as time goes on, and you only have about 4 minutes to beat the mission until Moon straight up kills you. But Moon can't hear you, which is something, I guess. So how do we beat this? Well, for one, the Moons I spawned can actually enter the play structures. There's no navigation path in the play structures, so when Moon enters it, he gets switched over to a spline follower and essentially rides on a predetermined track through the structure. Moon is a train. I've tried many things, but I can never get one to spawn that acts exactly like the one spawned for the mission. Either he isn't doing his cool crawling animations, not flying around, doing whatever this is, or just not moving at all. Instead I spawn Moons with Vanny's endless chase behavior tree and set his time dilation to 2 to make him faster, because the behavior tree ignores the AI data table. This behavior tree is also why the Moons constantly play the spotted sound around here. For some reason, Steerwool added this node to the endless chase behavior tree in the last update. This plays the spotted sound that normally plays when an enemy, spots you. Even though this enemy already tracks you permanently. There's no reason to have this steel wool. And you also broke Vanny in the Showtime mission, but we'll get there later. Let's get on with the mission. The first generator I always get is in the bottom of the right structure. Then the one above it, then the one at the top here. The next one has been moved up on top of the left play structure. To get there, you'll have to exit the structure at the bottom, jump onto this slide, and then jump onto the structure. The last generator is on top of the back part of the daycare. The moons can't get you there, so you can just jump down and run into the area. Then climb on top of the right tower, jump onto the structure, then onto the slide, and switch on the generator to finish the mission and despawn all of the moons. This also deletes the save station in the office because I'm an idiot that makes dumb gameplay decisions in a poor attempt to make the game more difficult by punishing mistakes unnecessarily hard. Opening the daycare door spawns Chica next to you. And because she's so fast now, she kills you before you can even move. So I put a trigger where you land that pauses her for 3.5 seconds. This gives you just enough time to enter Freddy and save yourself. Then you can go up the stairs in crippled Freddy and start the moon chase. Moon always spawns at predetermined spots, which you can see as question marks by enabling AI debug vision. Normally, there are no spawns towards the end of the chase for some reason. I had to manually patch in spots in an update because Moon kept killing people at the end. I think this is because there is no spot for him to spawn, so he kills you if some internal timer runs out. I could test this, but I won't, because there are so many Moon functions in the SDK that I would go insane if I tried. Anyway, after Freddy casually walks into the recharge station and when he sprints by, the game autosaves and we can enter the atrium. Mapbot has been replaced by Smithbot. He has a 1 in 1 million chance to kill you. So I guess Star Josh got very lucky. I even put a barrier around the whole area that only goes away if you have the map, so you can't refuse taking the map like a monster. To test for items, I made this. This function creates the debug inventory item widget, which looks like this. Then I run its setup function with the item that I want to test for and look at the checkbox. But now I have this function that just does it for me. Now we can pick between the loading docks and the price counter. Getting to El Chips is just as easy as before, though there is no save station there. But the Fizzy-Faz is, or the San Pellegrino now. El Chips is actually supposed to lock you in with this trigger, which it does, but it's not as effective if you can't save to get trapped in here. Anyway, the Super Starcade is more difficult than before, but it's still not that bad. Roxy can be outplayed here because she jumps, which gives you plenty of time to escape. You just need to find a route where you can quickly outplay her and then run to the vent. The Music Man chase is also pretty easy because there isn't really much to do here. Now we come to the office mission. The save station has been moved outside of the office. This is exactly what I should have done for all of them. Anyway, the challenge with this mission is that there's an extra Monty, Roxy and Chica to worry about. You can play this just like the original mission. Or you can just hide on top of one of the million objects in the area instead. Once the mission is done and you save, you'll have to somehow go into the VIP exit and then back to the elevator while avoiding Monty and Roxy. Getting by Monty is easy enough because he's confined to his little corridor. You can just wait next to the door, check the cams until he passes, and then hide onto the counter where he can't reach you until he gives up on chasing. Getting by Roxy is a little bit more difficult because she can freely roam the area. Wait for Roxy to be on the opposite side of the dome, where she will go around the left side of the dome, then jump down and go around the right. When you reach the VIP exit, Roxy will start going through the VIP area from the only exit. But you can just hide on this table and wait for her to pass and then exit the area. Then go back around the dome and reach the elevator to finish the price counter and proceed to 2 AM. But before we even get there, let's check out the Pizza Bot mission instead. To get there, we'll have to go through this vent which has a Music Man in it. I had to place a trigger in the vent to speed up Music Man to make this chase actually challenging. After this super intense chase, we'll enter the kitchen, without a save station. Dealing with Chica in this section is the worst. I don't even have a strat for this. You'll just have to spawn her in and hope that you can somehow reach the other side and hide on the table. Then comes Pizza Bot. I reduced the amount of time you have to take the pizza from 135 seconds to 63.5 seconds. This is the fastest time I could somewhat reliably beat Pizza Bot in. Once you bake the pizza, you'll have to sneak past Chica and wait for her to pass after going near the loading dock controls. This part has always been a little janky. Also, if you look up, you might be able to spot a generator sitting around. That'll be important later. Anyway, in the next section, Chica will walk from behind the toilets. Just hide on one of them until she goes away and despawns. To get past her in the next section, you can hide in one of the showers and wait for her to pass. Make sure not to go anywhere near the masses of staff bots so you don't accidentally spawn Gigamonties, and just reach the door to proceed to 2 AM. Lost and Found has gotten quite the update. The screwdriver has been moved here, and there are 5 extra vanities that spawn outside the vent, which permanently chase you and run at 2.4 times speed. And the left part of the stairs is blocked off. You might also notice that the vanities have my profile picture in front of them. It works by checking for all vanities that are missing a certain tag, attaching the profile picture to them, and then adding the tag. It would have been a lot better to edit the model and put a cube on top of Vani's head, but I don't know how to 3D model very well. Anyway, opening the outside vent spawns the vanities, but also puts up a barrier behind you. I don't think I should have put the barrier here, because it blocks off one other possible solution, which is going up the right stairs after luring the vanities back. Instead you'll have to go into the service area and up into Fastpad. This tagged Vani filter combined with the darkness in this area is also unbearable. I should have added some code to remove all Vani distortion actors until there's only one remaining, so they don't stack like this. Anyway, once we're out of the lobby, we'll have to go to... Oh, hi Vani. I put a trigger to spawn her at the elevator here after Lost and Found. This should have been in the base game in my opinion. I never understood why Vani wouldn't just follow you out of the lobby, since she even activates the monitor here, so she knows that you are there. The trigger puts up barriers in front of the elevators as well, so you can't go back and despawn her. That's also why I removed the save station in the Roxy Raceway sub-lobby, even though I could have spawned her again using another trigger, or just left it since you already have enough pressure from Roxy in the next section. To get past Roxy and the staff bots, you can hide on top of the forklift until Roxy is as far away as possible, and then run past her. After this, we'll reach the rehearsal room. The backstage pass is hidden behind these boxes next to the exit. Here we can also finally save and get another flashlight upgrade. And it is very important to save here because of the upcoming office minigame. What I did for this one is reduce the time to beat the mission to 90 seconds and blocked off all of the camera monitors. You can brute force your way through the answer in only a couple of attempts. After the hallway, we'll get to the showtime mission. This also has quite a few changes. Going up the stairs, there are invisible barriers at either side to prevent jumping besides the trigger, to prevent Chica and Roxy from spawning like I did in Sprintless. There's also a trigger here that gives you the Gigamonty achievement, because this is the place where you can spawn him. But I've already spawned quite a few Gigamonties for you. And to add to that, I've added Monty's old spotlight. It randomly passes around the area, but also tracks the player's noise, so you might want to be quiet down here to avoid it moving to you. If you get caught, the Monties will, just avoid the big light and you'll be fine here. Once we're past the Monties, we'll have to deal with Roxy and Chica. To get past Roxy, you can activate a distraction on the ground floor before going up the elevators. This should make her run to the distraction while you can continue to Chica. Avoiding her is easy because her eye struggles with hearing and seeing you. Once you use the showtime disc, Chica will be moved to the second floor, Roxy will be in the middle, and Monty will pass in front of the stage. Remember the Vanny that used to spawn behind the sound booth when you walked out? Well, Steel broke her in the last update. If you watch my Vanny storage video, you know that she normally spawns with the endless chase behavior tree, which makes her permanently path after you, but not sprint. In the last update, she started doing this. It seems that Steel switched her behavior tree to Vanny BT, which is her normal path around and chase tree. This makes her start moving to her normal path here, which is down the stairs. So she just hops over the railing and gets stuck on the bottom one. I can't even blame Steel for this is just funny. Anyway, to fix it, I put a trigger here that gives her the right behavior tree when you pass it. It also spawns a couple more Vannies that run 1.5 times as fast, an extra Monty, and gives you the Vanny storage achievement. Since the Vannies always walk towards you, you're essentially under a time limit. To get past Chica on the second floor, you can activate a distraction. She will ignore you and path towards it instead, which should give you enough time to get to the ground floor. On your way to the stage, use the distractions to get Roxy and the two Montys to go away temporarily. But you can also just go around the outside and pinch jump up here to skip the whole thing. Anyway, once you're down the lift, the next Monty chase will start. Just don't get caught by Moon like Freddy, or you'll have to do it all again. Next up is the warehouse. To get there, we'll get another visit by our favorite Spiffbot for the underground map. The endos are very fast. 6 times normal speed to be exact. This is done by the mod actor constantly getting all endos and setting the time dilation to 6. So if you take your eyes off them for a split second, you die. Whoa! Anyway, the first endo in the warehouse will leave the area if you stop looking at it. Just hide under the conveyor belt or walk past and he'll leave. Then you can press the first button. Keep your eyes on the next endos and walk backwards until you reach the second button. Then quickly turn around and press it, or jump and press it from behind. From here just continue walking backwards to the next one. The endos will lose track of you once you're past the corner and start pathing around in the area like normally. Pressing the buttons awakens the 2 endos in front of you. We now have 2 endos in front of us, but also 2 endos running around behind us, and we'll have to get past all of them. To do this, we'll walk backwards until we reach this blue shelf and listen to the running. The endos always follow a consistent cycle. You'll have to wait until the endos are running away and then walk backwards. If you do this just right, you should be able to get past the hallway and stop all of the endos. Then press the last button and continue walking backwards until you reach the office. Here you'll have to time the endos again. Wait until the endos are just arriving at the door to get the badge. Then crouch at the door and face the room. And then carefully walk out of the area and save your progress. But it's not gonna stop here because the repair is coming up. Normally the first repair only has 4 turns. I increased it to 14 and added 2 for every round after that. I hope you have a good memory. With the first repair down, we can take Roxy's elevator up to Rockstar Row and make our way to Chica's room. Once you enter Chica's room, just grab the... Of course I hit the parry pass somewhere else, why wouldn't I? It's on top of this thing. To get there, just jump on top of the recharge station from the pile of boxes, jump across the fence and collect the gift. After the moon chase, we'll proceed to 4 AM. Let's start with Monty Golf. The main challenge here is that you have multiple Montys to deal with. This is done by a simple trigger in the elevator that spawns 3 of them once you pass it. If you go through it again, it will spawn more Montys, kinda like with Gigamonty. I hit the camera in the men's bathroom and the Maser pass under the giant Monty head. But the security badge is still in the office. So I have to take a trip all throughout Monty Golf without getting caught by one of the Montys or staff bots in pitch darkness. But since it's 4 AM, we have an ace up our sleeve. We can use Freddy to move, which protects us from the Montys. Although the staff bots will still spawn Gigamontys if you go near them. What I get to get through this is getting the camera and Maser pass first, as they are very close to the elevator, then leaving Monty Golf to save and coming back to get the security badge. Getting the camera out of the bathroom is pretty easy. Just call Freddy at the top of the stairs and walk in while the staff bot is on the other side. To get the Maser pass, you'll have to climb on top of this railing with a plant pot and then leap forward into the river. The pass will be hidden under Monty's jaw. Getting back out is a little more difficult because of Steelwool's invisible wall team. You'll have to use these barrels to jump over Monty's teeth, then call Freddy and walk back onto the elevator. Once saved, we can return to get the security badge from the office. Freddy has just enough power to walk to the office hallway and back to the elevator on a single charge. Since we saved, getting caught isn't a big issue anyway. The fast cam has sustained quite a nerf from me as well. The stun radius has been reduced to 750 and the recharge time has been increased to 90 seconds. It also only stuns for half a second now and you can't escape jump scares anymore. With the 5th security badge in our hands, we can save again and make our way to the daycare to get the Maser control key. The daycare doesn't have an enemy pathing around normally, so your only threat are the staff bots. The bot on the theater stage doesn't have an audience anymore. I removed the clap bot because the jokes suck. Once in the basement, you'll find that the control key has been moved somewhere else. It's on top of this scaffolding in the corner. To get there, you can use this gap in the railing to climb on top, walk across this invisible wall, and then jump. Collecting the pass is supposed to teleport you to where it sits originally, so you have to go through the endos again, but 1. It doesn't work sometimes, 2. People found ways to get the key without entering the trigger I placed. 3. You can use Fairy to get past the endos. And 4. The endos don't work anyway. I could work for Steel Wool with the amount of bugs I added. Let's move on to mesa size. As you can tell by this message, the challenge here is that the mesa size buttons get randomly shuffled every time you enter the control room. To shuffle the buttons, the trigger I placed gets all of the mesa size buttons, sets their direction and row or column indices to a random one from an array that contains all of the combinations, and then removes that combination from the array so that there are no duplicates. This way the buttons get randomly shuffled. To pass this, you have to find out which buttons do what and find a solution from there. I did this myself and it's not actually as hard as you think after you figure it out. It's kinda like solving a Rubik's Cube, but every turn spins the wrong wheel. After we're done bashing the mesa size control panel in, we can move to the Monty fight. Luckily for us, there's a save station here. And it's needed because this fight is very difficult. Just ignoring the mess that is Monty for now, the whole area is still encased in darkness, so you have no way of knowing where Monty is if he's not right beside you. The only reason you can even see the targets is because I placed glowing markers there for you. These are normally hidden, but get unhidden when the player is less than 400 units away from this point on the y-axis and less than 4000 units away on the x-axis. This happens when you're either in the area or in debug flight mode. And on top of that, Monty is the most unpredictable mess in existence. Beating this is a nightmare. During my original playtesting, it took me a full day to beat the Monty fight. There's no definitive strategy to beating this. You just have to learn how Monty acts and know how to outplay him. But instead of beating the fight normally, we can cheat. We can pinch jump up this corner between the gate and an invisible wall, walk over the wall and then jump down over the trigger to skip it. After that the fight is free. Just don't die on your way to a save station afterwards. The Monty upgrade has the same challenge as the power upgrade, except you have 16 turns of testing instead. After that is done, recharge and proceed to 5 AM. But let's snap back an hour and try doing the Chica route instead. Arriving in Phaser Blast, the silver Phaser Blaster will be hidden all the way on the right side of the room. The main challenge in Phaser Blast is that you die if you get shot by a staff bot. It's realistic now. This doesn't work all the time for some reason. There's a trick you can do which another streamer named Wake and Jake discovered. If you lure Chica into the elevator, stun her and run out, you can get her stuck inside the cabin behind the doors. This isn't very easy to do because she is so fast, but not having a hyperactive chicken around makes this section a lot easier. Once done with the Phaser Blast minigame, we'll have to find the items that I scattered again. The golden Phaser Blaster is on the catwalks over Phaser Blast, and I hit the Bonnie Ball pass inside this green exit hallway at the side of the arena. You can still get it after you completed the minigame and left the area by going through the entry elevator again. But if you trap Chica inside, you'll find a fun surprise waiting for you at the bottom. Lastly, we'll get the security badge from the office. I would do this at the end just because the staff bots are very annoying to deal with. Next up is Bonnie Bowl. The mystery mix is hidden behind the staircase where Lydia is, on top of the stacked up boxes. But there's also this button at the first bowling area. This lets you play my hastily made bowling minigame. I made this in 2 days while I was in Norway without real internet access, which is why it looks so crappy. There's not even a reward for playing this, so there's no reason for you to even go there in the first place. I guess if I make an update I would have to remake this minigame so it's not this bad. But then I would also have to remake the trailer because I put it in there. Which I want to do anyways since I have a bunch of changes on my list that update things that are already in the trailer, like the lighting. Armed with the Phaser Blaster and Monty's mystery mix, we can go to the trash compactor to smash Chica. The generator is probably my most favorite changed placement. It's on top of this stack of green boxes. And to get there you'll have to climb on top of this forklift on the other side of the area, jump on this green box, then walk over this Monty gate onto this ledge. From there walk all the way to the other side of the area, use these boxes to jump on another ledge, jump on this other green box, and finally turn on the generator. Steel will actually change the collision of these boxes in an update to be taller, probably to prevent things like this, so I had to spawn in a small platform at the first box as a stepping stone to get up. But it's not done yet because the compactor button is just as well hidden as the generator. It's on a small vent in this room behind the office that can only be accessed through the server room. I doubt most people even know this room exists, let alone have been here in their playthrough. But I'm not most people with my 1000 hours in the game, so I hid it in here. At least the Monty Mystery Mix is still placed in the same spot as before. Now we can collect Chica's voice box and save before we deal with the sewers. Obviously the sewers don't have any save station beside the first one, and you can't go back and save. The first generator has been moved from its corner onto this trash mountain in the back of the area. To reach it, you will have to climb on top of the railing and walk over there. As soon as you flick the lever, jump down and run to the left where the concrete tube with all the Chica stuff lies. Then keep running out of the tube and continue out of the first area until you're here where Chica can't reach you anymore. If you're fast enough, you won't even see her on the way out. The second generator has been moved to the back right corner of the trash maze. And this time Chica spawns as soon as you enter. My strategy here is to just run along the left side until you get to the generator and then continue around until you reach the exit again. If you go at the right speed, you won't have a Chica encounter on your way, but that's really up to chance. The third generator is actually right at the start of the next area, shoved into the staircase on the left, but we'll still have to get past Chica in the last area. What I do is climb through this collapsed part of the area and wait for Chica to go far enough away before hurrying out. For some reason there's an invisible barrier where the door was before it opened. To fix this I would have to move the generator to a different spot in the area, so for now you'll have to use the debug menu to fly through or turn off the mod and do it normally. With Chica's beak detached, we can go to parts and service again and upgrade free. Just like with Monty, the repair will take 16 turns to complete. Once that is done and you pass the moon chase, we're finally at 5 AM. So let's move on to Roxy Raceway. The dance pass is on top of this fence in the back right of the raceway. To get it, you will have to climb on top of this forklift, jump on the fence, and then just walk there. The broken staff bot head is also nearby. It's on top of this blue shipping container. Getting it is easy, just go on top of the structure that has the fizzy fast and leap towards the container. On your way to the Cascade, you should stop by the salon and collect the shoes. They are hidden behind this wooden construction wall on the left side of the area. I originally wanted to make the shoes not give you a speed boost at all, but this didn't work, because the variable that I suspected to hold the shoe speed, called super run speed in the Gregory actor, doesn't actually seem to do anything in the game at all. So instead I ended up setting them at max stamina to 80% of its originally lowered value when you have the shoes. This means that you will travel about the same distance as without the shoes, but in a shorter time. Now we can proceed with the Cascade. This mission is almost on the same level as the Monty fight. And just like there, I don't have much of strategy to beat this besides moving quickly and staying quiet. Flipping the lever at the DJ booth spawns an extra Monty and Chica for you to deal with during the mission. Playing through this involves a lot of sitting in corners and praying for enemies to leave before they find you. The second lever is easy to get since the enemies are far away, but leaving the area will probably alert them to your location from the noise. But we won't have to go into the Monty area because I moved that switch from its original location to this karaoke room on the top floor. This means that we can immediately go up the stairs and leave the lower area behind. Going to the bridge lever isn't a huge problem since you can climb onto the glass railing and on the arcades. The last switch is on the way to the main circuit breaker. With the repaired J-Hat, we'll head back to the raceway to start the Roxy fight. Luckily for us, there's a safe station in the area for us to use. Roxy's increased hearing sensitivity also makes her go through the doors much quicker than normally. This also means that you can talk to lure her to you. I found it to be the easiest to run through the first areas quickly and then wait at the beginning of the fire room for her to jump at you, giving you enough time to escape. With Roxy's eyes in hand, we can upgrade Freddy again and trigger the final moon chase. Finally, we've reached the exit and completed the mod. Psych, there's still post-game content to do. First of all, we can get the last fizzy fast, which you can do a lot earlier. You also only have a single save station in the whole Pizzaplex now, but that's Deagle's fault for trying to make the post-game harder. Actually, the save station is not here. Instead I moved it behind the map to scare players that they're gonna have to beat the rest without saving at all. Let's do the normal endings next. The VIP ending and van ending didn't get directly changed. The only thing is that it might be a little more difficult to get through the ending or to collect enough things for VIP, but that's it. The Afton, Vanny and Princess Quest ending has half been changed though. Starting with Afton, obviously it's a lot more difficult to reach the ending in the first place, since you only have a single save station to get the other upgrade with. In the actual fight, I reduced the amount of power on the doors to a tiny amount, so you have to time the doors as well. I also reduced the amount of time it takes for Afton to possess Freddy. You're actually supposed to die as soon as Freddy gets possessed, but it doesn't work. And this hiding spot in the corner is blocked off as well. I tried to increase the amount of rounds this fight goes through, but I wasn't able to do it without breaking the fight. I also tried to make the fight start with the tentacles or spawning more in manually, but I wasn't able to do that either. The tentacles are actually one of the earliest things that I tried spawning when I started modding this game, but I never found out how to do it. Let's do Princess Quest next. To make this more challenging, I removed all chests that contain hearts and straight up deleted heart drops from the game. You also only have a single heart for the whole minigame, and you're slower than usual, and it's dark. I also wanted to remove the sword, but it made the second and third part way too difficult. But if you have practice in the games, it's not that hard. With the first 2 games done, we can go to the entrance and start the Vanny ending. The ending isn't that hard. You just have to avoid the staff pots at enemies, which isn't a huge challenge since Vanny is pretty slow, and Roxy and Chad Monty jump. The biggest challenge is Chica, but you can avoid that by doing Monty Golf at 4 AM. The last enemies can also follow you up the stairs, but that's not a huge problem. Reaching Vanny's room, you can either play Princess Quest 3 to get the Princess Quest ending, or you can press the button to get the Vanny ending. Last on the list are the achievements. I already mentioned the Mistake, Photopass, Patrick, Gigamonty and Vanny Storage achievements. You get the San Pellegrino one by collecting all the cans, the Burn Trap one by entering the Burn Trap fight, and the Vanny one by beating the Vanny ending. Those were the trivial ones. The Gym button achievement is obtained by going to the west arm of the 3rd floor of the atrium. There's a little contraption here that replicates the Gym button from the Stanley Parable. After pressing it like in the game, the whole thing will sink to the ground and you get an achievement for it. After that, it won't be there anymore. The Drip achievement is obtained by collecting these items. I made the custom items by replacing the texture and editing the inventory localization table to give them a new name. The Loaf achievement is obtained by finding Loaf in the Pizzaplex. There's a message that refers to the location. She's hiding in the bakery on a cat tree. The item is actually the admission pass with the new texture and name. Upon collecting it, you'll get the achievement. You get the secret achievement by finding 4 secret buttons. The hint for them is the torn paper message. The first one is behind the arcade in Monty's room, the second one is in the room overseeing the raceway, the third one is behind the area where Chica runs through the boxes, and the last one is behind the table on the sound booth. Pressing all 4 in this order gives you the achievement. Getting all achievement gives you the Superstar achievement. The only thing remaining now is the Gym ending. You'll need to have all achievements to unlock it. Go to the credits room and press the previous button on the first page, which reveals this new page. Pressing the new button in the middle of the page locks you in this room, with the only thing left to do being to go back even further. Pressing the middle button again makes your screen blurred, runs the game at a slower speed, and adds a vignette. The next button sends you to a separate dark room with a screen shake and a stronger blur. Pressing the next one makes the screen pixelated, adds the Vanny distortion filter, makes the screen shake harder, and makes the game run even slower. The last button teleports you to a large room with dim red lights, stops all the effects, and then crashes the game. And this is the code that makes it all work. Yeah, it's quite a mess. And that's it. You have beaten Superstar mode. Now I'll go over the story of the mod. I don't think the story is particularly interesting or good. It's all just told through these message bags that I changed. So there are 2 new employees at the Pizzaplex, Jim and Daniel. Jim maintains arcades and Daniel repairs go-karts in a raceway. The management then changes, and the new people don't really know what they're doing. The raceway is still in disrepair, and there's no money to fix it, which is why there were budget cuts. This is the in-canon explanations for the worst flashlight and the missing save stations. Daniel hears things in the sinkhole and climbs down to investigate. Jim follows the arcade conspiracy storyline and gets possessed by Glitch Trap or the Mimic or whatever that thing is supposed to be. And after that, the Pizzaplex falls into ruin because of Gregory. The rest of the story would be explored in Ruin Superstar mode or maybe even another mod entirely. There were some things in the mod that I ended up scrapping or never fully finishing. This includes moving or shuffling the attraction entrance spots, which just caused them to not work anymore, blocking Freddy's door with the wall and forcing you to do the bowling ball clip to get through, which was patched out of the game, so I had to cut it. Then I wanted to move the Fizzy Fast around, but I never got to it. I tried replacing the staff bots with their unpatched versions to give them a larger flashlight radius, but that broke when Zero switched engine versions for Ruin. The first 8 station scene was supposed to last longer, but I couldn't figure out how to detect it and how to make it last longer without causing a desync between the dialogue and actions. And lastly, I wanted to replace the ending music with the guitar cover of The End by Ryan Thompson and Zero the Real Deal, but it was far from finished when I got the mod done. In fact, I only finished it now at the time of writing this, and I still haven't properly recorded it because I don't have a pickup for my guitar. Anyway, there are also a lot of things that I would change now in hindsight. The section of the video originally had like 30 different things to talk about, but this is already getting too long, so I'll only focus on a few. First of all, I think the fog might be a little strong. I would probably make it thinner and make it start further away from the player to cut off far areas. Then switch the lights to lockdown and add a vignette around the screen to limit the player's field of view a bit more. Much better. Obviously, I would add all the save stations back into the game. Then I would add the better movement controls that I made for the remains. This being leaning and rolling, which would let you evade enemies more easily. I'd also put all the old message bags back into the game and instead add custom ones throughout the Pizzaplex. The missions themselves would be more difficult but scale over time, so that the first ones are easier, but still really difficult, and the last ones really difficult. I would disappoint Lars otherwise. But the changes should be a little more creative, not just enemy spam. And the last thing I want to mention is adding a heat system. There are actually remnants of this in the SDK, at least it looks like there are. This would make the enemies slower than they are at the moment, but get faster and more aggressive the more angry you make them and the more you evade. I really want to make a large update for it, completely rewriting the parts that are bad or could be improved, and implementing these in hindsight things to make the mod better. I might also make a Ruin version, but the problem with that is that I didn't like Ruin that much. I mean, I have over 1,000 hours in the game now, and only about 20 of those were actually in Ruin. Lastly, I have to thank all of the people that helped me make this mod and everyone that played it, even if you didn't enjoy or finish it. And also Steel for making this game. If I had to make this mod alone, I doubt I would have ever finished it. Not only because I lack skills in 3D modeling and art, that's a whole nother issue. Without you, I wouldn't have the motivation or ideas to make this in the first place. The script is almost 13,000 words long. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my rambling in this video. Download the update whenever I make that. See ya.